Chat with Grant Napier. Yes, indeed, it's Wednesday. That means Jerry Reynolds, followed by Ryan in Sacktown. The Kings are in Milwaukee, where they start a 6-game road trip tonight against the Bucks. The Kings currently 4th in the West, 2 games out of the top spot, and a game, it's crazy in the West, 1.5 games out of the 10th spot. Amazing, isn't it? Absolutely amazing. And it's going to be a lot of fun tonight, I think. It's going to be a lot of fun with the Kings and the Milwaukee Bucks. But first things first, at the moment, Jerry Reynolds. Followed by holy moly, Jim Bob Boley. Jerry Reynolds, how are you, sir?
Couldn't be better. Couldn't be better. Really looking forward to tonight's game. And
oh, yeah.
Beautiful. So it's all good in Kingsland.
It is all good. 13-9. Who would have thought after an 0-4 start that we'd be sitting here after the first week of December talking about a team that was 13-9? It's been amazing. It really has.
Really has. You know, I mean, obviously to kind of look at it simplicity as a fan, because this team is really fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they've always been fun to watch, even when they were losing some close games early. But the unselfishness that they play with, the bench depth, just simply, we haven't seen anything this much fun in 16, 17 years. That's for sure.
Somebody said Jerry's successfully on the live stream. Jerry, the fans out there are always praying for you every Wednesday to make sure you get on, you know?
Yeah, you all know, don't you? It's, there's no givens with me and this kind of stuff, I'm telling you. And I'm getting better, and I've moved up to bad.
Yeah, you are getting better, and you moved up to bad. Wow. So what was the level on the other side of bad? I mean, where did we start with this?
Incompetent. But I mean, hey, you can't solve your problems till you admit you got them, and I'm willing to admit I've got them.
Yeah, when it comes to technology, Jerry, you have always had them. That's a very good point. Oh my God.
Well, it's like, hey, it's like the old saying, the term cell phone, and basically we're all prisoners of our phones. That's a perfect word for those things.
Yeah, it is. All right. Oh my gosh. All right. So let's talk a little bit about this 13-9 team. You and I talked about this maybe 3 shows ago. And I think you're spot on 100% when you said the guy that would be the most difficult to replace on this team would be Sabonis. And I think you're spot on. I just think of all the players on the team, what he does is so special for this club.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he is the anchor, he's the point center. There's no doubt about it. I mean, he's a lot like Jokic for Denver. He's not as good as Jokic, we wouldn't say, but other than Jokic, I'm not sure how many centers are actually better. That do as much for their teams. And it's like the last game he played. I was talking with the old-fashioned 3 that I do with Whitey and the Phantom. He had a triple-double and took 4 shots.
That's amazing.
Now, next time somebody does that, just jump up and click your heels together.
Yeah, absolutely. Somebody said, did you wish Larry Bird a happy birthday?
I haven't.
Okay.
I haven't. I'd forgotten, but then again, he certainly has missed me more than once, so that's the way that goes. I don't owe him nothing.
No, you don't owe him. You don't owe him anything at all, huh?
You old coot.
Yeah, the 6-game road trip that begins tonight, I would think this is the most formidable opponent. Bucks have lost a couple, but they got a guy by the name of Giannis Antetokounmpo, who I know you're an expert in pronouncing his last name. He's the real freaking deal. There's no doubt about that.
He is. I mean, he's the best player in the world.
Yep.
I mean, I don't think it's really a discussion at this point. I mean, when you, not just his productivity on offense, but he's a great defender. Mm-hmm. And, and protects the rim and can guard wings, can get out and guard wings. You put Antetokounmpo on just about any team in the league and they get 15, 20 games better. you put him at the Houston Rockets and they'd be in the playoff hunt.
Absolutely. I mean, he is that special. And we use measuring stick games. I thought when the Kings were on the road the last time, they ended their brief 3-game road trip with Boston, and Boston is arguably the best team in the league right now. And I thought that was a measuring stick, and the Kings kind of found out where they were a little bit. I look at this as another measuring stick game.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and this is a really tough road trip, but they're playing some elite teams, and of course, I think that Boston and Milwaukee, I think, are the two best teams in the league.
Hmm.
I think they're both better than anybody in the West, and obviously the Celtics just basically that was a kind of a game that got away from them, but
Hmm.
really played them so well up until the Celtics bench just had a marvelous night. But so this will be a great test for them, and this whole trip will be, to me, if they can come back with a couple of wins, I think it'd be a terrific situation to come back above 500.
Yep.
And there's wins that can be had, but there's going to be some awful tough games. Certainly Cleveland is playing at a high level and
That's
they're
right.
healthy right now.
Will it be Harrison Barnes defending him tonight, meaning Giannis? I don't know if anyone's going to be actually defending him, but they're going to try. Mike Brown will probably just, I mean, you know this better than I do, Jerry. I mean, he'll probably try to give him a lot of different looks like all the other teams in the league do, but doesn't seem to work,
No, I think it's a case where you'll have whoever you put on him will have to get a lot of help, and
Hmm.
certainly Sabonis, you'd probably like not to have to put him on him because he'd be in foul trouble pretty
Right.
quick.
Yep.
So I think I probably would try Harrison and then make sure you're giving help immediately, and maybe a lot more zone, because he's a guy that's going to try to drive into the paint all the time, and create situations. So that's where if I were the Kings, I'd think about a lot more zone or sloughing man, because I'll let Grayson Allen try to beat me, or Bobby Portis,
Hmm.
or Connaughton, or some of those guys, but because Antetokounmpo can.
I don't know if I've ever seen the conference the way it is right now. I did a rant on this, I think yesterday or the day before. There doesn't seem to be that dominant team this year in the West. Now, that may change. I mean, the Warriors roster has the potential, in my opinion, to be dominant. But I look at the standings right now, and Phoenix is 16-8. 16-8 is good, but it's not like knock your socks off dominant. The Kings right now are fourth at 13-9. And what's amazing to me about this, Jerry, the Kings are 2 games behind Phoenix, but they're only 1.5 games from where 10th place Golden State is. This is an amazing conference right now.
Yeah, it almost reminds you of the NFL, where true parity is out there. I mean, Phoenix probably is the best team in the West. Their record would indicate that, but they're not scary, as we
No.
saw, in Golden One. And now Chris Paul's been out, and that probably is going to determine how this thing plays out, is injuries. I mean, knock on wood here, but the Kings have probably been the healthiest team in the league, and whichever team, loses key guys, everybody's going to lose somebody for a while. Just don't lose a major player for extended times. But I think, as a Kings, just following the Kings, there's nobody in the West that scares me if I'm a Kings fan. I mean, having said that, there's nobody I'm positive they're going to get a win against either. I mean,
A great point.
Houston, going into Houston, you can't be sure of that as a win either, and they're the weakest team.
I know this is going to sound crazy, and I agree with you on the injury front. We just don't know when it's going to happen, but in all likelihood, it will happen. But if we just put that on the back burner for right now, and I look at the 20-plus game sample size, which I've always used to use a barometer, I think after 20 to 25 games, you have a pretty good idea of whether a team is good or not. And I think the Kings are good. I don't know if I could say that there's a team right now in the West that I would say is clearly head and shoulders above Sacramento. So this is going to be really fun.
It really is, and then, like I say, especially when you look at the overall roster and the bench, because I think Monty McNair's done a marvelous job putting together a really pretty deep bench. Certainly good enough. I mean, not saying it's the best, but it's near the best, and it is the weakest. And it's been a long time since the Kings have had a quality bench. You'd almost have to go back to the early 2000s
Yeah, the mob, the
to
bench
find a
mob.
quality bench.
Yep.
And so,
Well, And he lucked in with Malik Monk. Let's just call it the way it is. I mean, if you think the Lakers will love to have Monk the way he's playing right now, so I mean, he's but you got to give him credit. He put this team together, and right now you got to give him a huge pat on the back.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll say this, and of course, I was really pumping Monk back in January of last year on the Kings Herald thing. I thought if they could get him, and I thought they could because the Lakers were limited what they could pay him.
Uh-huh.
And so it'd be a matter of how many teams went after him. And I think, Monty was quick on the draw and really went in there and got him. And of course, my other guy I wish they'd have gotten, I still do, is Bobby Portis, because I thought he'd been a perfect complement to Sabonis, because he can play center, tough buckaroo, and can knock down threes. And that's, of course, why that's why the Milwaukee Bucks decided to sign him to a better deal.
Hey, just a reminder that coming up right after the game tonight, this is the place you want to be for the Kings post game. We will be talking Kings and Bucks. That is right after the contest tonight. And we are coming to you courtesy of New Works Plumbing of Sacramento. Locally owned for over 20 years, New Works has a fix for you for your plumbing needs and repairs. Just go to sacserviceplumbing.com or call the number on your screen. Remember, New Works Plumbing, they've got a fix for you. Kevin Huerter right now is in a little bit of a slump. And I've been I've been getting a lot of messages when I do shows on this venue and on Listen App about, they should start Malik Monk. And I'm like, no. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I don't know why so many fans, when a player goes through a mini slump, and that's what Kevin Huerter is in, because to me, Jerry, we already know what he is. He's too good. All players go through slumps. You don't change the lineup, all right? I think you maybe would have a much better perspective on this than me, because you've coached in this league and I haven't. But fans, you have to understand that there are going to be nights when guys that are really good don't have good games.
Well, absolutely, and that's the way it goes. I mean, great shooters have stretches where they don't shoot great. I mean, I always said, people always think in terms of 50% shooter. That's 1 out of 2. No, it might be 50 out of 100, but it's not 1 out of 2. And so, which means there's going to be some games where they're 5 of 20, and there's going to be a game when they're 15 of 20. And it goes in halves. I always remember one of the stories when I was coaching with the Kings, and some fan, meaningful, a nice man, confronted me at the half and was talking about Eddie Johnson. He said, "Yeah, you got to bench Eddie second half. He ain't got it going. He's only 1 of 7." I said, "Yeah, but we don't know if he's going to be 1 of 7 the second half." And of course he wasn't. He was like 7 out of 9 or something.
Right.
But I said, and that's at some point, to your real point is, coaches have to show some faith and confidence in their people. And then more, and maybe equally important, don't screw up a good thing. And I think Mike Brown has proven he's a sharp coach, and has really made no mistakes. And so I'd always, at this stage, I'll take his side on every decision.
Cody wants to know who your favorite Bucks player of all time is. They've had a lot of great players in that franchise.
Well, they've had a lot of great ones now, but my favorite would be John McLaughlin. Because he was a Southern Indiana Hoosier, and I certainly knew him growing up, and got to be good friends for a long time, really, especially, as you know, when we were working games, and John was a longtime color broadcaster for the Bucks. So
that's right.
And he had a marvelous career, but John McLaughlin,
that's interesting.
Would be number one for me.
Number one. I'm really surprised by that. I guarantee you there's nobody on the stream right now or that will watch this at their leisure that would have picked John McLaughlin. See, you surprise the heck out of people all the time.
That's my role now. I wouldn't want anybody to tell John that, because I wouldn't want him to think that I liked him that much.
See, there's David on the chat line. Who? He's like, who?
Well, he was a big time shot maker on a world champion. Let's put it that way. He was the Kevin Huerter of the Milwaukee Bucks in '71.
Wow, how about that? And then he said, was he on the black and white TV, Jerry?
It was color. It wasn't high def. It was color. Now, so don't be so mean spirited now.
Oh,
there was basketball. There was basketball in the '70s.
Yeah. Hey, you know what's nice now? At the end of games and the end of close games, we're seeing Mike Brown be able to go offense, defensive substitution. And I like the fact that when you need a defensive possession, you now have a couple of guys he can put on the floor that really can play defense. And I just watching Davion Mitchell is fun, isn't it? I mean, does he remind you at all of Randy Brown?
Yes, he does. I think he's better at the same stage, but as you know, and that's why Randy was a brilliant defender. I mean, he really was a stopper at a time, when things could be a little more physical. But Davion affects the game. I mean, he really affects the game on defense, and I'll give Coach Brown credit here again for KZ Opala. I mean, he's a defensive player that can, I wasn't sure just what his role would be, but it does appear now that he's going to be in every game in some spots, limited spots. But he and Davion, when they're on the floor together, things change. I mean, and then I'll give another little shout out to Coach Brown. I wasn't sure how the backup five would work with Metu, but it seems to be working. He's so athletic, and he really is kind of fitting into his role, kind of forgetting to try to, where he wanted to score every time he touched it. Now he's kind of understanding what he needs to do, and so it's all good. But those two guys, boy, Davion Mitchell and KZ. I mean, when Davion and KZ come in, scoring gets tougher for whoever they're guarding.
We invite everyone to take a moment and hit the thumbs up, the like button, and subscribe if you have not already done so. Jeff wants to know about De'Aaron Fox. Why has he cooled off? Is he hurt? I do think he's dealing with a couple of ailments. I mean, the position he plays and everything else. He's still playing well, but he's not playing as well as he was earlier in the season. And I do think he's dealing with some things.
Yeah, I think he's definitely has kind of indicated that. Now, having said all that, I really like the way he's playing, even though he's not putting up huge numbers. He's really playing within himself, and again, just look at the overall productivity. It's nice. They don't really need him to be a 28, 30-point scorer, and I think the team is better as it is. I mean, with De'Aaron, when he can just, blend in and go for big baskets when it's necessary. He's a guy that can create better than anybody. But, when he can get 18 and 20 on 12, 13 shots, and then defensively, he's become a lot more of a factor. Hey, I think he's playing terrific, and he's rebounding very well. And that really allows, the fact that Kings aren't a very big team, but their guards are rebounding well to make up for a little bit of the front line.
Donald wants to know if you could compare Davion's defense to Mitch Richmond's defense.
Davion is better because he's more consistent. Mitch, when he was really turned on to play it, he might have been better, at his best because he was so strong and physical and really intimidated a lot of guys. So I'd give him on a particular game. But if you want to look at the overall defense for 10 games, Davion's definitely better because he's good all the time.
Rich said he slipped and fell working in the yard and fractured his tibia plateau. Now I can't hip hop to the barbershop. Well, it's hippity hop to the barbershop. So we got to make sure that we get the lingo down right.
Yeah, well, and truthfully, that's exactly when you need to hippity hop to the barbershop. If you got good legs, you don't need to do any hippity hopping.
Oh my gosh. So he's going to be on the mend. Rich, we're sorry to hear that, buddy. I hope you mend up soon. Wow. Sorry to hear that. All right. Richaun Holmes, not part of the rotation. Should the Kings trade Holmes? I mean, there's time to do that. I mean, it's December. The trade deadline is in February. I mean, you never know. I don't think right now it's a big deal. I don't.
I don't either. I mean, and really to trade anybody and it comes down to value, what you can get, what you need.
Yeah.
And so I suspect, and because anything Monty McNair and Mike Brown's thinking about or talking about it would be to make the team better. And right now, if there's not a deal to make you better, you just don't move people to move people.
Keegan Murray, talking about who he's going to guard tonight. We'll find out, but again, a little up and down still his game. Do you see any signs of what you look at as real progress with him right now?
I do. I think the last couple of games, certainly he's put up better scoring numbers, but he's been more aggressive. He's rebounded better, blocked the shot, nice shot. You see him kind of banging around in there a little bit more. I like that. He's on the right track. It's going to be you know, I don't know who he'll guard. I think they'll have him, and I'd like to see him some on Adetokounmpo because
Hmm.
there again, he can't guard him, but you're going to give up fouls, and so you want a lot of different guys, and you don't want Sabonis with 6 fouls, but really Keegan at this stage, it'd be you might as well find out if you want to be among the best, you might as well find out quick.
Jeff, Jerry was on the post game show with me, I believe a week ago or 2 weeks ago. So Jerry has appeared with me on the post game show. But thank you, and he's welcome. By the way, you know that anytime you want. I have a lot of fun doing the post game show. We're getting great responses on all three platforms. We're getting on all three platforms, meaning Facebook Live, Periscope, on Twitter, and here. Over 10,000 people now are watching my post game show. So Jerry,
You did a great job on it.
thank
I
you.
watch it, not religiously, I wouldn't say,
Yep,
because sometimes I'm ready to
go to
take a little
sleep.
nap or do something else. But but I didn't really, you know, I had a tough time staying up when I was doing the post game shows myself.
Um, why in some games the Kings suffer from concentration when they start turning over the ball? I've noticed a couple of games that they lost that were winnable, and it really pointing towards turnovers.
It's a great question. I mean, I think it's maybe a product of a couple other things. Scouting. I mean, teams really. The more you watch the Kings, you get some idea what they want to do in the open court, where the ball's going, how you maybe can get to Sabonis a little earlier, whatever. So I think scouting is a part of it. The style of play itself is when you're pushing the ball, really trying to play at a fast pace. That you know when things aren't quite so sharp and maybe substitution patterns aren't totally established. They're just about now, but that could lead to it. But overall, I think when you look at the style of play and how they're scoring the ball, their assist to turnover
Hmm.
ratio tells you they're doing a great job.
Somebody says they want to see you in the chat, Jerry. That would be great. You have to understand something about Jerry. For Jerry to get on the chat during a post game show would require him to figure out where to type, how to type, and then how to get it on the screen. So let's not bite off more than we can chew. Okay, we're happy to
Oh
have Jerry
boy.
on right now. Okay.
Yeah, that's scary stuff there. I said the best thing I could do with you, and I would just text you on the phone, and you could read it if you wanted to.
Oh my gosh, that is beautiful. Oh man, and Jerry, you are welcome anytime you want. You know that you guys, we appreciate the fact that we are a big part of your childhood, and we, yes, light the beam together. Absolutely. So thank you for that. You're also letting Jerry and I know how old we are now. That there are so many people that we were with them
Yeah.
during their childhood, and now they have children.
Well, sadly, we're probably part of your parents' childhood too. That's what gets a little depressing.
Oh my gosh. I can't answer this question about the Golden One crowd versus the Arco crowd because I have not been to the Golden One Center for a game during their resurgence. So I couldn't really comment on that. I would say it's probably not the same as Arco, but just from what I've heard and talking to people, it's getting pretty good lately at the Golden One Center.
Well, it's winning does that, and it's a fun team, and I think the only difference is just the configuration of seats. In the old Arco uh, fans, even the lower bowl were a little closer, and then the wood floors made more noise. But
Yeah.
good basketball, good fans, it all works.
I did not see that the Warriors were sitting Curry, Wiggins, and Draymond versus the Jazz. I think what the Warriors do is a disgrace to the league. I've talked about that in the past. I thought what the Warriors did for their 2 visits within 3 weeks of being in New Orleans, the only 2 games of the year that they're there, and on both games, Steve Kerr rested all of his stars. I think that is an insult to basketball fans all over the world. I think it is a disgrace. I think the NBA needs to have a mechanism to prevent that from happening. And I have lost all respect for the way they handle their player, quote unquote, load management. I think it's a disgrace. I can't say it any
Well, I
better than
do
that.
too. I mean, I agree with you there, and I mean, I think Greg Popovich started it, but I've always said I think the league needs to step in, because the only people getting punished here is the fans. And, basically it's a situation where, to me, the league ought to really have some league doctors
Hmm.
that will basically decide, if this player can play. I mean, you come up too many, he's got a sore toe or a bruised calf, and may not be, that they couldn't play with it. I mean,
Yep.
years ago, I know they would have. I know they would have. And so when you start having basically load management a third of the way through the season,
Yep.
it's ridiculous. It's hurting
It's
the
terrible.
sport, and
It
I
is.
don't care what anybody says.
And Bula to those watching in Fiji. Jerry, Bula means hello. We've got fans watching in
Oh,
Fiji. So, yes, indeed. Jerry, say Bula, B-U-L-A, Bula.
Bula,
There you go. Perfect. That's exactly right.
Bula.
Is Kevin Herter better than Buddy Hield? I don't think there's any question that he's better than Buddy Hield. I mean, I don't even think it's
But
close. Yeah.
yeah, he's a better basketball player.
Yeah.
Better basketball player. Basically, I think and Buddy used right may be the equal as a shooter, but as a basketball player, no, Kevin Herter's better.
Yeah. All right. We get to the chats and all of that. As far as the Warriors go, are the Warriors that good this year to rest players? No, they're not. They're in 10th place in the West right now. They're not. They're in 10th place. They just had an awful loss 2 nights ago at home to the Pacers without Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah, or I think Miles Turner didn't play either.
That's right.
And
That's
it
right.
was interesting. Their second round pick, Nembhard, was brilliant. I watched a good bit of that game, and it's like, holy cow. I mean, the Pacers did this marvelous job of drafting. They got a
Mhm.
Mathurin and Nembhard first, a sixth pick, and then a 31st pick that, Nembhard right now with what he's done would be a top 10 pick in this draft. I mean, so anyway, but without so-called their two main players, they go right in there and beat the Warriors.
Garrett, thank you very much for watching all the rants and streams. Appreciate your support. It means a lot. A team has to live or die with Buddy. If he gets hot or not, you can't depend on Buddy. Again, I'm not going to slam Buddy, okay? The point we're trying to make is Kevin Herter is a better all-around basketball player. And if a general manager was starting a team and he could choose one or the other, all 30 general managers would choose Kevin Herter. I'm not really sure how else to answer the question.
No, that's it. That's it in a nutshell. And,
Right.
Herter's better. He's younger. Duh. Now, I wouldn't slam Buddy either, because I think here again, Buddy is Buddy, but he is a shot maker, and he had a couple rough years here at the end. But I guarantee you, if he gets to a certain teams, and I don't want to see him in a
Oh,
Lakers
boy.
uniform, but I would not like to see that if I'm a Kings fan, because I think he'll be getting basically the ball in open shooting position with a live dribble, and Buddy can be pretty darn good right like that.
All right. Again, a lot of people weighing in on this. The reality is it's not anything that we have to prolong on the chat. All right. So the Kings are in Milwaukee. It's December. Would have you gone out for a walk today, or is it strictly depend on what the temperature is in Milwaukee? Would you walk out of the Pfister Hotel and go for your usual walk, Share, or would you get on the treadmill?
It was based on the weather. If it was reasonably sunny, not windy, even if it's 35, 40 degrees, I would go outside. I
Oh, it's
prefer
not
that.
bad.
But otherwise,
37
right there.
37 today. 37. That's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
bad.
So if it's I might have had my walk, and otherwise I'd be right on that treadmill. But prefer to go outside. When I could.
All right. So when you and Coachy, the late Pete Carrill, rest in peace, Coachy, when
Rest
you
in
all
peace.
used to go on your daily walks, wherever we were, what was your favorite city to walk in? Did you have one that you enjoyed more than the rest?
Yeah, I did. I would say probably Boston. And I know this is going to cause you some triggering. I
I'm
don't
going to
mean
get
to
you right
trigger
off
you
the
there,
stream right now. Yes.
but walking the Boston Common, because we'd always stay in hotels right near the Boston Commons, and that was such a great place to walk.
It
Wide
was.
sidewalks without the traffic to bother you, and so you could really visit and pleasant. So that was that would have been right at the top.
How about where I live,
Yeah.
Jerry? I mean, you can't beat where I live and the walk there on Brickell Key. You got to love that.
No, that would have been that was obviously very, very good too. And I liked Orlando a lot too around
Yeah,
because
around
we'd
the
be
lake.
close enough to the little lake.
Yep.
Lake, I'm not sure what the name of it was, but it was a great, which we used to enjoy that walk.
I'm
So,
telling you.
it's like everything else. I always say, you learn in your league, you learn where the nice places to walk, which who has the best press rooms,
Yep.
uh, where the quickest restrooms are, which, as you know, is always a key.
Hey, by the way, speaking of media rooms, so you ready for this? The New York Knicks and the great James Dolan, all right, they print money at Madison Square Garden. The media room no longer exists, and there's no food or drink. And so what they do is they give every member of the media that's working the game that night a voucher for $25 to go on the concourse to a concession stand and get your food that way. Think about Madison Square Garden and the Knicks. And you and I both know that once something comes out of the jar, it's going to become more and more fashionable. Just like when they started taking some of the broadcast locations from the floor and moving them up, now more and more teams are doing that. So pretty soon, you just watch, the media rooms will become obsolete thanks to James Dolan. Unbelievable.
Oh, yeah, it's just, I always say it's just a matter of time, if they can, whatever they can sell. So, they give you, you know, maybe just a complimentary hot dog and a Coke. And then, and I've said maybe broadcasters in the future, they'll just hang from the ceiling, because, because there's not seats they can sell that way. So I don't know.
I'm
It's,
telling you,
you know,
it's unbelievable. All
sometimes
right.
retirement makes sense.
All right. So on this road trip, okay, you would take 3-3 right now before the team left, or is the team playing well enough right now where you want to get greedy? Would you take 3-3 on this trip?
Oh, sure. I would. It'd be different if this was 2001 Kings that have,
Yeah.
already proven a lot of things. But no, if they could, I said I'd take 2-4 right now with
Would you
this
really?
particular road trip. I would. I'd be less concerned about the record. I'd at least 2 wins. Than how they play, because there are going to be games, as long as they're playing these good teams with a chance to win and end games, and they've been so competitive this year. That's, to me, that tells you as much sometimes as wins and losses. This league is such that, yeah, the Pacers can go into Golden State and win. Dallas can go into Denver and win.
That's right.
That's what this league is right now. So it's a matter of being in a position to have a chance to win every night, knowing full well that you won't.
Dallas is interesting. They've now won 3 in a row and 4 out of 5, and maybe they're starting to wake up. I think not having Brunson has been a big loss for them. I don't have a real good read on Dallas. When you watch the Mavs, what comes across to you?
Well, they miss Brunson. I think they miss Brunson. Now, it is good to see Tim Hardaway Jr. stepping up. He wasn't with them last year. Now he's starting to get into being that consistent second scorer, and and I think that I think Wood is going to help them offensively. Are they? I don't think they're going to be as good, because I think they're a little deeper team than they were.
Really?
But losing Brunson, to me, they lost their second best player and have basically got a couple of fourth and fifth guys, and depth wise, probably a little better, but just to me, that's still a loss. But there again, Luka's Luka, and you don't ever want to count him out either.
No, you don't. No, you don't. All right, so the Kings and the Bucks tonight. Jerry, a lot of fun as always talking with you, and I hope that we have a lot of fun with it tonight with the game and the start of a 6-game trip. And a lot of fans are also saying they would take 3-3. I think the toughest 2 games are the first games, Milwaukee and Cleveland. So we'll see what happens. But you have
you get a split there. You can, look for more. But man, great being with you as always, and the fans. And I am really looking forward to the game. I'm just getting mentally ready to have my special popcorn popped and just settle in and enjoy some basketball. And I'll be watching you post game.
Yep.
I might even text you and cuss you out a little bit. I don't know if
you can come
on much.
You can do whatever you want. You have an arm. So listen, it's great. It's great talking to you, and we will chat with you later for sure. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Take care. See you next
All
week.
right. You too. Good stuff right there from the one and only Jerry Reynolds. We are also brought to you courtesy of Foster and Paws. And if you say, wait a minute, tell me a little bit more about Fosters and Paws. Well, they're a group of passionate animal advocates. And basically, they work hard to save lives. And they understand that rescue is hard. They understand that the animals are often abandoned by the humans they trusted. And so they work really to create a relationship and bond with each of the animals that come into their care. And they primarily focus on those vulnerable dogs in shelters. And they are looking for adopters, donors, and fosters. To learn more, check out the website on your screen, fostersandpaws.org/adopt. All right, we bring in Ryan in Sacktown. Again, got the toughest job in showbiz to come on and follow the legendary Jerry Reynolds. I'm sorry, I do that to you every week. I don't know what else I can do for you, you know?
Hey, that's all right. I enjoy it, but it is very difficult to follow him. There's no doubt.
Oh my gosh. So tonight's going to be fun. I think tonight is one of those measuring stick games. It's a barometer. I think it's very similar to the game they had, what is it now, a little less than 2 weeks ago that they had in Boston.
Yeah, I think it is very similar, and I expect the Kings to play well and come out and hang in there as long as Sabonis stays out of foul trouble. That's absolutely going to be the key to this game. Defense, rebounding. The Bucks are the best rebounding team in the league statistically, so those are going to be the key factors.
All right. Appreciate that. Somebody says my audio cuts out intermittently. I can't control the internet. It comes and goes. The weather where I live factors in to the internet as well when we get thunderstorms here. So I'll do the best I can. Thank you for your patience, and we appreciate it. And speaking of that, if you are on the stream right now, it would mean a lot if you hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you very much. Jrue Holiday, we've gotten a couple of people talking about his defense. The Bucks are good. The Bucks are good on both sides of the ball. They're a really good team.
Yeah, they are excellent. They like to slow the pace down. They like to play in the half court, which again, why I think rebounding is so important. But they're probably, I would say, the deepest team that the Kings have seen this year, on both sides of the ball, no doubt. And it's going to be a fun matchup to see both benches square off.
Rhino, did you get a haircut? Yes, he did. Looking good. Stylish, man. I like that. Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
I hip hop to the barbershop.
There you go. I mean, anytime you can hippity hop to the barbershop. We hippity hopped kind of to the barbershop at Bennett's in September, and we didn't get we didn't hippity hop out of there. We were like, oh God, what happened to our hair? You know what I'm saying? And I'll tell you, I hippity hopped into the barbershop that day, but I didn't get my bubble gum at the end. So, when I used to go to the barbershop as a little kid, you always got that little piece of bazooka, and that's why I love going to get my hair cut.
Nice. Yeah, we don't get the bubble gum anymore, but we used to get the bubble gum in the baseball card packs.
Oh yeah,
that was
those
the best.
that was the best. Can you imagine if we were not stupid growing up and we kept all of our baseball cards? Oh, I mean, I had Mickey Mantle cards.
My gosh.
I mean, I grew up in the 60s. I had Mickey Mantle base. We used to if we got a Mickey Mantle card, and then we all used to get together and we used to flip and trade the cards, and we'd be playing a game, and we you have no idea when you're 7, 8, 9 years old that those cards are going to be extremely valuable. Man, if you could just go back in time, just go back in time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was the coolest thing, getting an entire box and getting your Beckett magazine and looking up the value.
I know.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome times.
All right. So what's your prediction? What's your prediction for this road trip?
I'm going to go 3-3. I really think they can go 4-2, though. I think that is a good possibility, but that would take a win tonight in Milwaukee, in my opinion. But 3-3, we're not getting on. I would not get on the plane if the Kings would go 3-3.
All right. I think they beat the Knicks for sure. And I think they beat Detroit, although Detroit's playing better and it's the end of a road trip. So I'm going to put those two as wins, which is dangerous to do. Toronto is iffy, second night of a back-to-back. I'm with you. I think, as Jerry said, if you can split one of these first two games, I think 4 wins is extremely doable on this trip.
Certainly. And they're playing well right now. We've been saying this. They're on a roll, 3-game winning streak at this point. So let's see if they can just extend that. And, the one that's got me, Grant, is Philadelphia. Philadelphia has not been playing great basketball lately, but it only is going to take a little bit for Joel Embiid to really get going. And
Harden just came back. And Harden just came back.
That's right.
Yep.
So the ingredients are there for, them hitting their stride right there and catching Sacramento in the middle of the road trip.
All right. So don't forget that coming on after the game tonight, right here on YouTube Live, we'll break it down. We'll take the chat. So after the Kings and the Bucks tonight, figure it about 7:15, 7:20, 7:25. All right. The game starts coming up here at 5 o'clock Pacific time. Rhino, we'll talk to you later, buddy. Good stuff.
Sounds good. Hey, Grant, if you get any messages from Jerry saying he's going to come on tonight, will you let me know so I can start getting him on right now?
I will do that. I will do
All
that.
right.
All right.
Have
See
a
you,
good
buddy.
one.
All right. Good stuff right there, Ryan in Sacktown. Yeah, we used to put the cards in our bike spokes to make noise. Yeah, the clothespins. Yeah, absolutely, Jeff. That's exactly what we did, man. The good old days. Wow. You are absolutely correct. All right, I'm getting ready for my show on Listen Up. I'll be back here tonight, right after the game. Enjoy. Thank you very much. And don't forget, Friday, we wrap up the week with Sean Salisbury at 3 o'clock right here on If You Don't Like That with Grant Napier. So long, everybody, and thank you very